America's Card Room is the largest U.S.-facing poker site. For the latest deposit bonus, click the link in the description. And to watch poker live and grow your game, check out twitch.tv/PokerPastor and subscribe to this channel. The $1 Million Sunday. I have selected 56 hands or so from my deep run of the $1 Million Sunday. Some from the early stages, some from the mid stages, some from the late stages. And we're going to do a live review of them here in just a few minutes. So we're no delay tonight. You guys can interact. You guys can ask me questions. In fact, it's encouraged. We will be putting this on YouTube over the next week so that people that weren't able to be here for this can still come in and watch it and just get some really, really good prep for the $1 Million Sunday, because we've got a lot of heroes that have tickets, and we want to get them prepared. One second. So, Fake, the Mario race works just like the Pac-Man race did. You're betting on whether Mario's going to beat the level or get killed by one of those 5 obstacles. The mushroom guys, the turtles, the bottomless pits, any type of fire, piranhas, piranha plants. So you guys just pick what you think the outcome's going to be. And then at the third break, just like the Pac-Man level did, the Mario level will play out. And we'll see what happens. Fake, LFC, Run Good, everybody's chilling in here. We're glad for the hype. We're just getting started. So, again, really big announcement in 55 minutes. Super excited about it, but gonna have to wait for it. Wait till a few more people get here. There you go. See, Fake? You got this going on. So let's dig in. So this is from January 8th. It is the first millie that ACR did in 2018. It was the first of their regular millies. Got a little over 3,400 people. We ended up finishing 17th. So now, I did, Faked. I retweeted it, man. Nice run. I had to feel good. I had to feel really, really good. Yeah, so here's what I want you guys to think about. Here's what I want you guys to think about. When you play in a millie tournament, like we're going to have one question for each phase, early, mid, and late. The early question I have for you is this. Treadine, that's funny. Way to use that college education. Maybe that's why I ran so bad last week, is because I dropped out of college. That could explain a lot. Oh, wow, your first one on Iggy, too. Your ROI in there is going to be sick. So, M. Russo, what's going on, man? You bet. Appreciate it. I used to go battle with Talon Chick back in the day. We used to have very epic battles in high-low pre-Black Friday. Always had a lot of fun battling with her. Played a lot of tournaments together. So it's always fun to go back and kind of relive the old days for me, since I can't play over there anymore. So here's the question I want you to ask yourself if you're going to play a $1 Million tournament. Early stages. How big of a pot are you comfortable playing? If you're taking notes, write this down. How big of a pot are you comfortable playing? One of the biggest mistakes I see is people get into these online tournaments, and especially these bigger ones, and they don't have a plan for how big of a pot they're control playing, and they just start playing street by street, and they get in spots where the pot gets very uncomfortable for them, and then they end up folding way too many hands. So we're gonna, as we go through this first 20 or so hands, I'm gonna keep beating this in your head. How big of a pot are you comfortable playing? Because it affects your strategy, it affects your bet sizing, it affects how you approach his hands, it affects your ranges. Like, everything comes from that foundation. How big of a pot are you comfortable playing with in $1 million tourney? Everybody got that so far? So, M. Russo, yes, I do still play some Omaha Online, still play some high-low. What's up, Nubian Queen? Not quite as much as I did back in the day because No Limit Hold'em's more profitable for me. But definitely the tournaments that are worth playing, some of the higher buy-in tournaments, we do still play. So it's probably about 5 to 10% of our volume at this point, just because there's just not a lot of tourneys out there. But we do like to play the higher stakes ones when we can. We're actually going to be playing in the $88 PLO on ACR tonight. So that will be a thing. Yeah, meet me at the Star. We're no delay, bub. Yeah, you're good, Faked. So yeah, again, please, guys, interact, ask questions, but I want you guys to understand this. Like, I feel like I'm in the process of starting to try and take everything I'm learning and simplify it into some more basic concepts, because some of the stuff in Raise Your Edge is really, really, really deep. And it's not that you guys can't get it. Some of you can, some of you can't, but everybody's at different stages in their poker career, and we have to have that basic foundation we start with. And so I'm trying to start building that foundation and being able to communicate it. Hey Mel, how's it going? So for here we go. So for early stages, here's the $1 million question. How big of a pot are you comfortable playing with? So here we are. This is like the first or second hand. We noticed we got Hero Snost and Lost here on our left. Yeah, for sure, Haitian Engineer. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to getting this one posted over there as well. And, I'm going to try to continue doing weekly content over there whenever possible, because I think it does help. And I've benefited from it. I mean, part of the reason I'm in Raise Your Edge is because I watched a bunch of their videos on their YouTube channel for free. So here's a perfect example, right? We get an open here from middle position. We've got 8-7 suited. Oh, look at this, Emerson with the sub. Trying to bink some free shares. Can he get there? I can't get there, but thank you so much for the sub. And hey, Emeruso, we actually have a website portal for all of our subs. If you whisper me a password and an email address that you will use, I'll get your account set up and we'll get you in there. I'm a rounder. Yes, I did. I got the Raise Your Edge apprentice package. It is worth every freaking penny. Oh, that was gifted from Treadine. My bad. Thank you, Treadine. Well, thank you for the club anyway, Memoruso, and thanks, Treadine, for the gift. Appreciate it. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Haitian Engineer. Here we go. We're getting the hype started early. And the $2. Awesome. Haitian, I will get those credited to your account. So, guys, we are doing some giveaways tonight, courtesy of #StormersLoyal. #Stormers plural loyal. It's part of ACR Stormers. You guys getting subs, would love for you guys to tweet out about it. Just tweet thanks to #StormersLoyal and at ACR Stormers would be great. Because this is a giveaway that they're helping to sponsor for us. We appreciate them supporting us, and the whole ACR Stormers group is so cool. If you guys haven't heard of Stormers Loyal, it's basically them giving back to our faithful viewers that support us and help us be successful at what we're doing. So let me get Haitian Engineer credited here real quick. So in this hand, right, like 7-8 suited is definitely one of those hands. If you're willing to play bigger pots, if you're willing to play more aggressive, this is a great no, not $2 ACR. He won $2 in equity for future investments. So on the website, he'll have $2 added to his balance that he can use to invest in whatever packages he wants. Which we are crediting right now. Yeah, Mel got the link up there. So for those of you that do not know, PokerPastorLive.com is our sub portal. So you guys can get an account on there, check it out. We've got all the latest news and information about what we're doing, our schedule. We'll be posting strategy in there. And obviously, if you want to invest in any of our packages and have a sweat when we're streaming, you can actually purchase it. This is not clean shaven. This is still fuzzy. I got rid of the I got rid of the goatee because it was driving me nuts, but I need to go to the store and get a new razor. I have 3 teenage girls, so my razors always get pilfered. So back to this hand. It was a slot bait for the sub gift, Nubian Queen. He got gifted a sub. So 7-8 suited is definitely a hand that we can 3-bet, okay? And in the early stages, and part of the reason is because if we put some suited connectors into our 3-betting range along with our really, really strong hands, it gives us some nice polarization, and it also gives us board coverage. That being said, absolutely nothing wrong with flatting here. It just comes down to how big of a pot you want to build. When we start 3-betting these hands, you can imagine like going to 180 here instead of 60. Now we're playing for a 400 chip pot instead of a 1-65 chip pot. And then when you're doing half c-bet, half turn bet, or 2/3 and 1/3, the pot grows exponentially. So you gotta kind of decide ahead of time. All right, if you're comfortable playing bigger pots, then being aggressive early is great, because you're going to build pots with people. A lot of people at the table are going to be people that satellited in. They're going to be casual players. They're going to be more tight early, and you can really, really take advantage of that by putting them in pressure. That being said, if you are in a spot where you're not comfortable playing pots big, then 3-betting wide is going to be really dangerous. And there's honestly nothing wrong early stages in a specific tournament for just 3-betting your really, really, really strong hands. Now, if you do that across all your tournaments and all of your stats, you are going to get exploded. But particularly for this tournament, if you decide that you want to flat a big percentage of your hands and basically be in a spot where you're never 3-betting light early for this one tournament, that's okay. That's okay. It's not the end of the world. It's not going to ruin your game. It's not overly exploitable. So this is a spot where I definitely think like now I would probably 3-bet to kind of build some bigger pots with the style I play. But at the time we choose to flat. We get a call from Snost in the big blind. Goes check. The guy c-bets, and we check raise. Now it's funny here because like now we're trying to build a big pot. Now this is a ton of equity, obviously. So I don't hate the 3-bet here, but if we're gonna 3-bet here, why not just 3-bet pre-flop and try and build that big pot earlier? Because if we 3-bet earlier and we get called, now we don't have to 3-bet here and it disguises our hand, or we can 3-bet here and build an even bigger pot. We do get called. Turn is a 6. And now for me, this is a spot where there shouldn't be a lot of 6s in his 3-betting range. And since we did flat, there's definitely possibility for some suited 6s, some suited connectors that have a 6 in it. Auto Glass God! What is going on? Doesn't bink, but welcome, welcome. Appreciate it. Again, guys, those of you guys subbing, if you do not have an account yet at PokerPastorLive.com, send me a whisper with a password you will use and an email address, and I will get your account set up. Welcome to the crew here. Appreciate you being a part of it. So, because we didn't 3-bet here, like this is a spot where I would like repping the 6. I don't remember what I do here. This also kind of takes like combinations out of his range, right? Like it's much harder for him to have 6-5 or Jack-6 suited, or like it just kind of makes it less likely that he has some sort of pair and more likely that he's on some sort of draw like us. But we do check behind. And you can see, and you'll see this throughout the tournament, like I wasn't really comfortable with, I didn't have an answer to the question. What's up, Jave? I didn't have an answer to the question of what size pot I was comfortable playing with. So like you'll see throughout these early stages, I'm up and down. Sometimes I'm trying to build a pot. Sometimes I'm nervous about the pot size. I didn't have a plan sorted out for that, and it cost me. Fortunately, we do river the flush here. We realize our equity. We put a 2/3 pot size bet out. I'm fine with that. Like when it goes check on the turn and he checks river, we're probably not getting called by a lot. But then I also tend to bet really, really big on the river, so this is actually probably down from what I would normally bet. Maybe a little bit smaller sizing there would be better. So here we've got ace queen. And again, the same question. What's up, Wonka Wins? Same question here, right? Like, what kind of pot size are we comfortable building? Because we've got a min raise. It's not a limp. We've got 2 callers. We expect the callers to be a little bit lighter here. So we've got options, right? We can flat and try and play this hand multi-way. I don't think this hand plays the best multi-way. If it was suited, it would be much better for that. Or we can squeeze. And again, I think it comes back to pot size. Now, for me, the more people that flat behind, the more squeeze-heavy my range is going to be. Because if this guy calls, we're still playing him in position. We're still really deep stacked. But if I can get these guys to fold, it's dead money, right? There's 160, 200, 220 chips here. That if we can get everybody but the original raiser to fold, that's all dead money for us. So we do squeeze. We go a little over 5x, which is fine. And everybody folds and we take down a nice little pop. Now, it's interesting, right? So for the 7-8 suited, we just limped. Maybe because I was up to 11K, we 3-bet. Again, this is a spot. KY says, I squeezed a 310 here. Yeah, I mean, if you want callers, 310's a much better sizing there for sure. And again, I think at this point in the stage in the game, like, I was very much kind of up and down with being confident playing big pots. So I was trying to, like, I'm sure at the moment I was trying to take it down right there. Yeah, Wonka, I'm a little stuffed up. The weather's been like temperature's changing, pressure's changing. It's been all over the place. I'm all right though. Nice, Steve. Good luck. Good luck in that tournament. That's sick. So this is another spot. How big of a pot are we comfortable playing with? 3-bet is great here if you want to play aggressive and play for a bigger pot. Flatting is also okay here. And Wonka wins with the sub, gifted for tournament, and binks the 5 shares. Wonka wins. Look at that. Let's see, Wonka, are you already in the system? Again, guys, if you're getting gifted subs tonight, Wonka, you're not. So, Wonka, whisper me a password and an email address you want, and we'll get your account set up in the system. Country Boy surviving. Thanks for the follow. But again, guys, you guys getting gifted subs courtesy of ACR Stormers, hashtag Stormers Loyal. If you guys can tweet out and thanks, hashtag Stormers Loyal and at ACR Stormers, I really would appreciate it. They're sponsoring some giveaways for us tonight, and the more we show them that we love them and we appreciate them, the more they will do these things. So please go hit Twitter, hashtag Stormers Loyal, at ACR Stormers. Give them a thanks for the gifted sub and all of the other giveaways tonight. Welcome, Country Boy, to the stream. So, we decided to 3-bet here. If we're 3-betting here, we should probably 3-bet the 7-8 suited 2. The small blind, big blind fold, and now we get 4-bet. Now, we don't have enough hands on this guy to know where he's at. We've only got 47 hands on this guy. But right now, where I'm at, to me, I think we have to call here. We're in position. We 3-bet to play for a big pop. Nice, Rick. Well, then this is a perfect time to be in here. Congrats. We're in position. We're almost getting 2-1. This hand can flop really strong. And this comes back again to the same question of how big of a pot are you willing to play for? And at the time, you know, I 3-bet, and then I'm like, oh, man, he's got to have it. You know, I'm getting 4-bet here early. And he may have it, but here's the thing. You're calling 1,000 in chips to implied odds win 8,500 here, plus the 1,380. So really, I mean, it's 10-1 implied odds here. And this hand can flop really strong. I mean, let's just say he has aces here, right? Like, you can still hit flops with 2 pair, flops with open-ended straight and flush draws with overs. Like, there's so many different hands that you can play, 1, 2, 3 or more streets. And so then it comes back to the comfort level. Like, if you're like, well, I don't want to play this hand post-flop in this spot, don't 3-bet it. Just flat it. But as you can see, again, like, I got caught back and forth. I didn't 3-bet the 7-8. I 3-bet here. Now we get 4-bet. We're in position. It's a late position 4-bet, too. It's not like it's under the gun that's 4-betting you, right? This is a guy that's raising from a really wide range that can decide to put pressure back on us, especially since it's the Millie. And, you know, they want to put pressure on weaker players. So we got to be willing to call here if we're going to 3-bet. We fold. So again, this is where not having that strategy hurts. And I want you guys to drill in your head, do I want to play for big pots or small pots? And being confident in that decision and sticking to that strategy. So here we get a raise. We just flat with the ace-5 suited. Again, you could 3-bet bluff here with this hand. Flatting is fine too. We get a call from the big blind. We flop top pair. It goes check, check. We check behind. I don't hate this for pot control. Again, like, same thing. Like, how big of a pot do we want to play for? When the original raiser doesn't check, we definitely kind of feel a little bit better that he doesn't have an ace in his range. And we only have 17 hands on him, so we don't have, you know, any information on him. We don't know what the big blind has. He can defend with some weaker pairs. He could have some a6, some a7, some 6-7 in his range. So this is a little bit of a scary spot. So, like, if we decide that we just want to check behind here for pot control, it's okay. Turns a 7, and we get a lead for 1/3 pot. Now, this is very stabby, right? What's up, KB? Thanks for the biddies. I'm so pumped for March, man. So pumped for March. And KB, remind me tomorrow, because I ran out of time today. Remind me tomorrow to talk to you and Geek about giveaways for that week. Because I have something working. We'll talk. For those of you guys who don't know what I'm talking about, we're going to be out in North Carolina for a huge streamathon during the NCAA tournament. Hanging out with KB and One Dull Geek and possibly Drew. We're going to do some cool promotions that week. Got some things in the works. It's going to be a lot of fun. What's up, Mr. Perfecto? Shout out to everybody that's hanging out with us tonight. So, I'm fine with the float here. I mean, this could be really polarized, right? This could be him just taking a stab with a flush draw or a straight draw. He would also bet his, you know, 7s here, obviously. I would expect him, generally, players to bet their 7s a little bit stronger here. Because there's so many draws out there. And because they can get called by so much, they can get a lot more value. But we flat, and that's fine. Got a new follower in the house. CL Maryland, what's going on? Thanks for the follow. Appreciate you hanging out with us tonight. Stick around for the home game tonight, 9 o'clock Eastern. PokerPastor live at home game on ACR Stormers. It's in the private tab. All right. So River's a 9, and now he goes real chunky, and we just fold. I'm curious. Oops. I'm curious what you guys think about this fold on the river. I don't mind it. I mean, at this point, like, we're chopping with ace-8. We're chopping with ace-4, ace-3, ace-deuce. There's going to be some suited aces we're chopping with here. Obviously, there's better aces in his range that beat us. None of the draws really got there. I mean, we don't think he's betting 10-8 unless it's some, like, really weird combo draw, like 10-8 of hearts, 10-8 of diamonds. Those are only 2 combinations. So, like, I'm fine with a fold here. I'm fine with a call also. It really kind of depends on what your, you know, view of the player is. Again, we have no hands on this guy, and it's kind of one of the things that shocked me a little bit using a HUD is I thought we were going to have hands on various people early on, and we just didn't. It was just, like, random city. So this one's kind of like a toss-up for me. We decided to fold, though, and I think I'm okay with that. It's justifiable anyway. So here we've got pocket 10s. We raise it up. Get called by the big blind, and the flop comes jack 3-5. Now, this is the epic debate that I've been going back and forth on. I've been debating with Geek extensively. And I'm still forming opinions about it. The question being, what do we do when we have a pocket pair and there's an over on the board? Because essentially what our hand is right here is jack 2, right? I mean, for all intents and purposes, we have a jack with the worst kicker here. So, in most cases, when we have a jack here, we're going to c-bet. So in theory, we would c-bet with 10s. The one difference being when we have a jack, they're less likely to have one. When we have pocket 10s, Now we don't block that jack. They're more likely to have a jack in their hand. This is also a draw-heavy board. So what I've been generally trying to do is with a pocket pair with an under on the board, the lower the pocket pair, and so in other words, the more overs that could come to my card and the more draw-heavy it is, the more likely I am to c-bet here. So KY says, I continue your 3/4 pot. Yeah, I like a raise here, or I mean a c-bet here. But for example, like, let's say this flop came like ace 8-4, and we had pocket kings. I'm much more likely at an ace 8-4 rainbow flop to check behind, and try and bluff catch. Because there really isn't overs to the board that can damage the value of our kings. If he has an ace, we're just punting money, and if he doesn't have an ace, we're gonna get folds from him when we could be getting value from weaker hands, especially when we check back on the flop. So, but in this particular spot, we've got a flush draw on the board. Queen, king, and ace are all really bad cards for us. I like a c-bet. We go half pot. I like KY's reasoning for going bigger. Back when this was going on, I really wasn't paying much attention to my sizing on c-bets. Now I'm much more polarized to like 1/3, 2/3 type c-bet sizing. But I was doing a lot of half pot clicking back in. Turns a 5. He checks. We check behind. I don't hate it. I mean, I don't hate it because, like, it comes back to the pot size question that I'm just going to keep bringing up. Is like, how big of a pot do we want to play for the river? If you're going to check here and call a river lead by him, then I like it. If you're going to check here and fold to a river lead on most cards, then I think that you're losing a little bit of value by not double barreling out. Like, I would rather double barrel here and get him to fold all of his floats than check here and then have him bet into us and then not call the river. So, like, your intention for checking here is pot control, setting yourself up to call a river bet if you decide to do so. So, again, having a plan. Now, here, this is one of those cards that's kind of like, okay, we have a plan. Like, let's check, let's control the pot and then call in the river, and then a queen comes, and then it kind of gets messy. Fortunately, he checks here again. And now at this point, like, we can feel pretty good that he's very draw heavy at this point. Like, he could have a jack and just be really scared to play it. That's a possibility. But, like, we don't think he's walking into a queen. Most people are going to bet their queens here. We just check behind and try to realize our showdown value. I guess it comes down to, I mean, again, we don't have any information, but you do need to think about, like, is this the kind of player that, like, could have a jack and potentially fold it to a big bet in the river? Like, we at least need to think that way. In most situations, though, like, we've got enough showdown value that we're not going to get worse to call us. We're not going to get better to fold. So, generally speaking, this is an okay place to check behind. We do take down a nice pop. $81.60. We're at the ace-10 suited here, and so here we go. Like, I'm just all over the place. Like, I'm on some places I'm pot controlling, and some places I'm being really aggressive and trying to build pots, and it seems like I'm a little schizophrenic here. And this is a really weird 3-bet too, because, like, it's basically a min 3-bet in position against a player that we have tagged as aggressive, which I don't know why we do, because it's only 54 hands. I mean, he's probably more of a red tag than an aggro at 19, 13, 12. His 3-bet's pretty aggressive, but the sample size is way too small. But for whatever reason, we decide to 3-bet here. I think this is probably just a flat most times. And if you are going to 3-bet, like, you should make it a little bit bigger. I don't like the sizing here, because we're just giving him, I mean, he's got a huge stack already, and we're just giving him insane odds to call us here. He calls. We flop a gut shot. No backdoor flush draw. We check behind. I mean, yeah. See, we've gotten ourselves in a little bit of an awkward spot, right? Like, now we're in a spot where we really haven't hit this flop well at all. An ace doesn't, like, guarantee that we're going to win the hand. Like, we can hit a jack, but if it's the jack of clubs, now we're kind of in a dicey spot there potentially. This guy could just, like, hit a whole mess of combo draws. We do block jack 10 and 9-10 and a lot of some of the combo draws that are out there, but, like, there's just so many hands here that could have, like, you know, a 9 with a flush draw, or, you know, an 8-10, 8 jack, 9-10, 9 jack. Even though we block, you know, the jack 10 a little bit, a wet board like this, it's just really hard to feel super good about. At the same time, because we min 3-bet, like, there's going to be some 7s and 6s and 5s and 4s and 3s in his range. Because, I mean, he's got pot odds to call us and set mine with any pocket pair in that spot, right? So, it's just a hard place to play. And this is why, like, with the ace-10 suited, I probably like flatting better there. We check behind, which is okay at this point. You know, it doesn't necessarily cap our range here when we're in a 3-bet pot. Though it's really hard for us to have like pocket queens here. Like pocket queens are gonna bet. Like probably the best thing we could expect to have in our range here is like aces and kings that are checking for pot control. You know, any jack 10's gonna bet, any 2-pair combo is gonna bet, any set's gonna bet. So we're semi-capped. We can still be strong, but we can't be at the very, very top of our range when we check behind. He checks turn, and now I think we decide to fire at this. Yeah. I don't hate this. Like, now that the 8 comes out, it takes away more of the combos he could have. He's checked down twice. So, like, he either has a monster or he has a hand that's really, really weak at this point because he's not protecting his hand, right? Like, you know, any hands, like Queen 9 is not going to feel great on the flop or the turn here. Like, now that the turn... you know, the bottom board pairs, like any of his draws are still in there, but they're weaker now at this point. Like we can feel good when we get 2 checks from him, that he's somewhat capped too, right? The only thing we're really worried about at this point is 9s and queens, which there's not very many combos of, obviously. There's all those combos of smaller pocket pairs we've talked about. There's all of those weaker draws, so I don't hate taking a stab at this point. The only thing that's a little bit tricky about this is there's not a lot we would slow play on the flop. What's up, Mickey? Good to see you in here for a bit. So like a really good thinking player can kind of look at this and go, okay, what is he really repping here? Like, what is he really slow playing on the flop that he's betting turn? Our story really doesn't make sense here. Fortunately, he doesn't pick up on it, or he just didn't want to mess with it with his hand raising. So I like the bet on the turn, but we definitely have to be a little bit careful about how we're presenting ourselves and thinking about, like, what does this story mean? Because I think a really good player would definitely snuff this bet out as being pretty weak. So here we've got King Jack suited. We raise from UTG1. I'm fine with that. We get 3 callers. Flop comes Queen 8-3. This is an auto C bet for me. Yeah, see, that's what I'm thinking, KY. Like, I mean, this is where, like, we have to just kind of look at the entire, you know, like the hand combos, right? Like, how many combos of hand, you know, pocket pairs are there from 7s and below? Especially if we think he's capable of opening, like, deuces, 3s, and 4s. There's hands like ace-king. All the ace-king hands are in there. All the suited combos that don't, you know, have the flush draw in there. We maybe even get him to fold some of the backdoor draws. And there's just like a lot of random junk. I mean, that's where, like, again, you have to think ahead on your sizing. Like when you min 3-bet, you're getting him to call 100% of his range there, unless he's just bad. So like we're kind of like just inflating a pot without really getting any fold equity and without putting ourselves in a better spot to understand his range. So it doesn't really accomplish much. So this is an auto C bet for me. Not only do we have the flush draw, we've got the king over, we've got the backdoor straight draws. You know, we could bank an ace or a 10 on the turn, have double barrel opportunities. Even a 9 isn't a terrible card for us. And I think I actually like the smaller sizing, right? Like if we flop the flush, like we're gonna have, you know, I mean, basically we're only coolered by the nut flush. Like I don't entirely mind going on the smaller sizing here, maybe going a little less than half. We get 1 caller, turns a 5, and we just check. I guess this depends on what our plan is on the river. I probably double barrel here because this doesn't really change anything, right? Like it doesn't really that card's basically a blank at this point. And in blank situations, I mean, we are out of position, but I would rather just like I'd rather fire again knowing that there's a lot of draws, he could have like, 9-10 with a heart, Jack 10 with one heart, like if he's got like the Jack 10 of hearts, he could have a hand like King Jack. He could have, just a wide variety of draws here. All of the nut suited hearts that maybe we can get him to fold now when we're behind. So Mr. Perfecto, the trend is to go two directions, either closer to 1/3 pot size or closer to 2/3 pot size. And they accomplish two different purposes, right? Like 2/3 pot bets are going to build a bigger pot. They're going to be more protectionary. They're going to set up your sizing on the river. They're going to be pushed towards more fold equity, more polarized. 1/3 pot bets are going to be more value heavy. They're going to keep people in a little bit more. They're a little bit more linear in their approach. So it's slightly different. And I mean, the idea, and I'm still learning and going through this process in Raise Your Edge, but like we should be doing both. And what's tricky is learning like what scenarios we want to do one and what scenarios we want to do the other. Like in this situation, because this is a hand that plays well multi-ways, and it's a good flop for us that plays multi-ways, I don't mind edging towards the the smaller sizing. But I think we double barrel here preferably. But again, this is another spot where I'm caught in like not wanting to play for a really big pot, and because I didn't want to play for a really big pot, now I don't want to double barrel, right? And if I'm not going to double barrel here, like, do we really need to c-bet the flop 4 ways? I mean, we're not getting all 3 people to fold on this flop. We're pretty confident of that. And again, like, the best equity for us is a heart. Like, we don't really care if there's 4 people in the hand if there's a heart. Like, we're not going to get any of the ace of heart hands to fold. So if we run into a cooler, it's not like we're getting them to fold out on the flop. So, like, this is the indecisiveness that you're just going to see over and over and over again, costing us equity, right? So we check, the river's a brick, he bets out, and we just get out of the way. So again, this is why I don't like this line, because like by the time we check turn and check river, yeah, Mickey, we finished 17th. We went really, really deep in this one. So by the time we check turn and check river, like we're basically saying that we missed a draw, and like he doesn't even have to bet this much. I think he could bet like 1,300 to get us to fold in most situations. So it's just a spot where our unwillingness to understand how big of a pot we're willing to play for and have a plan across all streets is getting us crushed. And despite that, we still finished 17th. So here, this is a spot like I definitely think is an open, and I just included it in here because I want to show you guys my mistakes too. Like, really, I mean, any suited aces when you're deep stacked are an open, but like even under the gun, we're sitting on 26 big blinds. Like, this is probably the bottom of it, but this is definitely an open for me. And this is me being scared in a milli, playing a little bit too tight. Here with the king queen. So you'll see, and this hand is in here for one key reason, right? Like, this is what we all need to keep reminding ourselves and we need to keep talking about. And then we're going to go to break here, and we'll start talking about middle stages. Like, in these spots, like this hand, and I think I even said it on my stream. Sorry, I'm getting hit with some whispers here. Okay, 1 sec. So, like, I even said this on stream, like, jokingly at the time. I was like, hey, maybe this will be the hand we'll talk about, in 24 hours. Like, this is an insignificant flip. We're shoving 10 big blinds in a really straightforward spot. And we managed to dodge an ace and a club on the river and win an insignificant hand. Like, this is a coin flip. And if this coin flip goes the other way, this story never gets told, right? We never finish 17th in the milli on the 8th and have 590 people on our stream and all the other crazy things that happen. And like, you have to understand this, because I think sometimes we're so bad about being results oriented in tournaments. Like, we go into a run bad, we go into a week or two where we don't get any victories, and we get frustrated. We start to doubt our abilities, we start to doubt our talents, and we have to understand that, like, great players, awesome players, the best players in the world still have to win coin flips to win tournaments. You still have to win in situations that are out of your control. All we can do here is shove. This is all we can do here. There's an open. We've got little slick. All we can do here is shove. And then it's up to the dealer at this point. So, like, please remember, like, yes, poker is a skill game, and poker is a game where the better we get, the more results we're going to have, the more success we have, the more consistency we're going to have. But you still have to win coin flips, and we won a lot of coin flips to finish 17th. It's not like we just ran the field over. We still have situations we have to win, and this is one of those little insignificant spots that comes through with us and helps us win another nice spot. Let's do one more hand here before we go to break. So here we've got 10-9 offsuit in the big blind. We defend. I'm fine with that. Flop top pair, and we donk lead. My question with donk leading is always the same thing. Like, what is your donk leading range? I don't mind people having a donk leading range as long as it's balanced. If you're just donk leading really strong draws, or you're only donk leading your nut hands, or you're only donk leading your weaker holding, like if you're only donk leading a very linear range, you're going to get destroyed in the long run. So, like, if we're going to lead here with 10-9, we should be leading here with 5-6. We should be leading here with pocket 10s. We should be leading here with, hands like Queen Jack suited with a spade, a diamond, or a club. Like, we need a balanced range here. I understand, like, part of the reason that we generally lean towards having a donk leading range, or like we're tempted, I guess, to do it, is this is a perfect example, right? Like, oh, well, I've got a pair, but it's vulnerable. There's lots of cards that can come on the turn, and we don't want to get a check behind and then have a queen or king or an ace hit the turn, and then we're just stuck. We want to realize some of our equity now. So I don't hate it, but like we've got to mix some stuff in here. We cannot just do this with just our top pairs, or just our two pair combos, or just there. So we go ahead and donk lead. He calls, and lo and behold, there's the king on the turn. And now here's the awkward spot for us again, because we built a really big pot. Now the scare card is there that smacks his range. We check. He actually checks behind, and the river's a 5, and we come out with like a 1/4 pot bet. I mean, given that we've got this guy orange tagged as aggressive, which, let's see, 28-16. I mean, he only c-bets 25% of flops, so actually, based on these stats, 50% bet river. I don't know. I mean, he's maybe like cautiously aggressive, but again, it's only 104 hand sample size. The big question that Ben CB always asks is what part of a player's range are you trying to attack? So, like, in this situation, like, what are we trying to attack when we 1/4 pot bet here? We're basically trying to attack pocket 6s, pocket 7s, maybe if he's a really loose player, like an ace high combos. Like, this is like really thin. It also puts us in a really awkward spot, because look at his stack size. He's got 26k. He can just jam on us here, right? He can just jam on us here, and if he loses the hand, he's still got 19k at, what are we at, 175, 350? He's still sitting on like 60 bigs. So, like, we're putting ourselves in a spot where, like, we're just giving him a great spot to fire, because we're giving him, like, we're leaving ourselves full equity, and now, like, now we're in a spot where, like, he's in the perfect spot to jam. So if you're going to bet call with this sizing, I like it. If you're going to bet fold with this sizing, then I really think you need to go a little bit chunkier, like the extra 600 to 900 chips, to take this down and take away some of his rebets would be a lot, or reshoves would be a lot better. And we're not really, I mean, it's really hard to attack his range here, because we do feel pretty good he doesn't have a king when he checks back on the turn. And maybe there is a lot of air in his range here, which would justify, like, betting smaller, but stack size dependent. Like, this is just kind of one of those bets that, like, if I see this at the table, like, I'm really leaning towards you're just full of it. And so if I have blockers in this situation, like, maybe I have a hand like ace 7 with the ace of spades here, like, I definitely am thinking about jamming here, right? Because I block some of the hands that you could be bluffing or missing your draws with. Like, this just looks really, really weak. So I don't like how I played this. He ends up calling, and of course we don't get to see what he had, but we do win a nice little pot here. So we are going to head to a short break here and come back and talk about mid-stakes. But before we do,